Hope you only bought a one-way train ticket because these snippets are going off the rails. Unless I get sidetracked. Because we're talking about public transportation. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or to it if this is the first time you are seeing my face. Thank you so much for seeing that little thumbnail and deciding to click on it. My name is Jacy and I like to do Storytime Snippets on this channel, which are just small little mini story times all compiled into one video on the same topic. And today's topic, we are talking about all the crazy, wild, insane, disgusting, dangerous, and normal things that happen on public transportation. We're talking planes, we're talking trains, we're talking automobiles, and all of the weird experiences that I've had on each of them. These are just silly little experiences that I've had, so I hope you guys just like hanging out with me because I like hanging out with you. So without any more dilly-dallying, let's hop into these snippets. So this first section is going to be all about planes. In this first snippet, I will be taking to the skies for a lovely flight. So I was on a flight from LA to New York City, and it's a pretty long flight, about 8 hours. And normally I just knock the heck out on these flights. I am dead asleep. But it was kind of towards the end of the flight, so I was a little bit more awake during this. So I was towards the back of the plane. Side note, I have a Delta credit card, and one of the perks is that I get to board the plane early. But one of the unperks is that they usually always give me a middle seat towards the back of the plane. Really rude. That's not how you respect your loyal customers. Even though I probably have the lowest tier of credit cards. That's beside the point. So I was towards the back of the plane and I see a couple of rows up, a woman stand up and head to the restroom, kind of walk past me and towards the bathroom. And not 25 seconds later, I see another man stand up, walk past me towards the bathroom. And I, as just a regular passenger, immediately noticed that he was sitting directly next to her. And right away, my alarm bells are going off because I'm thinking, either that's a brother-sister combo duo that ate the same fish fillet for lunch on the plane and is having tummy troubles at the exact same time, or that's a couple and our plane is about to arrive and I'm thinking that they're trying to do the same. And so I perk up because I was like, oh my God, these people are about to join the Mile High Club, 45 minutes before touchdown. Let's see how this plays out. I'm not a narc. I'm not going to be like, hey, flight attendant, 2 people are trying to go to the bathroom. That's a little suspicious. Keep an eye out. No, I was like, let's see if they can do it, if they can get it done. So again, I'm in the middle seat, but I'm trying to pull the whole oh, gotta stretch my back. Let me see how this goes. I turn around and there's nobody in line for the bathroom, meaning that both of them were in the stall at the exact same time. And part of me was just like, cowabunga, dude, live your life. Who am I to judge? But then the other part is like, oh, airplane bathrooms are already so icky. The logistics of the position. I can't even, I don't know. Lots of thoughts going on, But before I could even finish that thought, the flight attendants, all of them had the same alarm bells going off. Sure enough, I see one flight attendant just making a beat, like it was like a runway. She was like walking down the aisle of the flight all the way to the bathroom. And this is where I was absolutely sham-wowed because this flight attendant loudly knocks on the door and goes, excuse me, only one person in the bathroom at a time. Excuse me, only one person in the bathroom at a time. And just awakes up the whole half back of the airplane being like, what's going on back there? And it was so sad, the secondhand embarrassment I got from these 2 people shamefully walking out of the bathroom going like, oh, sorry, I was not feeling well. He was holding my hair back while I was puking or something. I don't know. Nice try, lady. And I've never seen a walk of shame on an airplane quite like that. The boyfriend exits the bathroom and goes and walks back to his seat and buckles up. The woman stays in the bathroom and stays for an appropriate amount of time and then kind of comes back to her seat. But it was so rude, not rude, but how dare the flight attendant just bring so much attention to it? I feel like you could have done it a little bit more discreetly. But at the same time, if you're trying to hook up in an airplane bathroom, maybe you should be a little bit more discreet about it and don't leave 30 seconds after your wife and follow her into the bathroom. But props to you guys for even trying. So I was almost an unwilling voyeur in somebody joining the Mile High Club, but alas, the universe just didn't have that in their plans. Try private jet next time. That's where I hear it's easiest to get it done. I've never been in a private jet and probably never will be, but you never know, team. You never know if I'll get to cross that off my bucket list one day. No, again, the logistics, not for me. But have you guys? Have you? Drop a little airplane emoji if you have. I'm trying to see something. Just something little. This next snippet thankfully didn't happen to me because it'd be wildly inconvenient, but it did happen to a friend, and I think I saw it on social media somewhere else. But let's do a pop quiz. If you were to buy alcohol duty-free at an airport, do you think legally you're allowed to crack it open and start chugging it openly on the airplane? If you answered yes, then you have the IQ of an eggplant, because no, that's illegal. But alas, that is what this absolute easy bake oven of a man did on somebody's flight. So my friend's on this flight, she's just chilling, they're boarding the airplane, and while they're still boarding, some guy thought it was a great idea to get the party started a little bit early. I don't know if he was headed to his destination or headed home, but he needed some libations to perhaps quell his anxieties about the takeoff. And I guess he had smuggled in some alcohol. Now, to be fair, a little side note, I don't actually know what buying alcohol at an airport actually looks like. Because if you're buying like a big ass thing of Patron, I'm pretty sure they don't just hand it to you. I think they have to like give it to your flight attendant or something. I don't know the actual rules or something. But there may have been a situation where he snuck some nips in. Those are like the little alcohol guys, the little nips. You guys know what I'm talking about? The little like shots in the little bottles, the little guys. You guys know? You know what I'm talking about? Those things. So I don't know if he brought a nips or a full-on bottle, but point to say is that he brought his own liquor onto the airplane. And while everybody's boarding, he just starts cracking open these bad boys and taking shots. And right away, the flight attendants take notice because they're like, you are not in first class. You are not acting first classy. And we haven't served any alcohol yet. So I don't know why you're so openly taking shots in front of everybody right now. And so my friend was saying that the flight attendant was kind of trying to be a little cool about it. Was like, hey man, that's illegal, put it away, you can't drink that here, like please put it away. And the guy was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. And he was very visibly intoxicated, so drunk to the fact that he kept doing it. And the flight attendant saw him once again take a shot of whatever alcohol silly goose juice he brought and had to completely stop boarding and kick this man off the plane. But this man was pretty inebriated at this point and was not willing to go willingly. Good one, Jacy. He kind of starts a little scene where he's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. I'm not leaving this plane. You have to drag me off of this plane. And sure enough, that's what airport security did. They had to have security come on board and physically remove this man. And everybody on this flight is like, you are karate kidding me, my guy, because now our flight is delayed. Now we have to wait for you to get manhandled off of this plane, and now we might not make our flight connections and all of our layovers and yada, yada, yada. And my friend said it took about 40 minutes for this whole ordeal to get this drunk man off of the plane because they had to remove him from the plane, but then they also had to kind of like reboard everybody and still get everybody on the flight situated and then taken off. But oh my goodness, you guys, let this be a lesson. You can't just openly drink your own alcohol on a plane, okay? Don't be a hooligan. And if you do, don't be obvious. The next section of snippets is going to be about trains, and snippet number 1 is something I saw back in college. So I was a commuter student back in college, and I was taking the train all of the time. And I took it for years and almost never saw ticket takers or like the conductors coming around and making sure everybody has their tickets. And so I too am guilty of, hopping on board without paying for my fare. Sue me. Actually, I think I did a video about it. I'll tag it up here and down below. It's kind of old, but it's about like all the run-ins I've had with the law, all my past criminal activity, if you guys want to know what a badass I am. Spoiler alert, one of the things in that video is that I did get a ticket for avoiding my train fare. Yeah, it happens, lesson learned. But I don't know, it's kind of like part of the culture of people who like regularly took the trains that like you kind of only pay for one every now and then. And I would pay every now and then, but there were people who just straight up didn't pay. So I'm on the train one day and I had paid my fare this day, thank goodness. And sure enough, the ticket taker comes around with like a little scanny thing. It almost looks like a big ass fat cell phone from like 1999. And he's like, okay, everyone, like making sure, like tap your card, make sure that you tapped your card, that you paid your fare. So he goes around and you just kind of like tap your card and it says whether or not you paid. And I'm like, I have like anxiety, even though I did pay my card, but you're kind of watching around being like, like we're in the middle of a train ride right now. So it's not like we could quickly hop off the train. Like they got us. We're stuck in this little car and everybody had to prove that they paid their $1.25 to be on it. So there's this guy in the corner, and the ticket taker kind of gets to him, and he's like, oh, scan your card. And the man's like, I don't have it. And the conductor's like, you didn't pay for your ticket? Time to get a ticket. And he starts writing a citation. And he's like, all right, sir, can I see your ID? And the man's like, no. And the conductor's like, sir, what's your name? And he goes, I'm not giving you my name. And he's like, sir, we have to give you a citation. Like, we need your information. And the man is just absolutely stone cold refusing to give his information. And so at this point, the whole train car is just watching this go down, because we're like, so what does happen in this situation? You know, for learning purposes, let's see how this plays out. So we arrive to the next station, the doors open, and this conductor and the guy are still talking. And as the doors are closing, this man makes an NFL-worthy juke, jukes out the conductor, hops out the doors, and just takes off running down the train station. And the doors close on the conductor, and he presses some sort of button frantically, like, oh my God, oh, he got away, opens the doors, and just takes off running after him. And we're in the car doors close, and we just silently drive away in the train car. And it was just such a funny sight, because it was like, oh, so is he gonna get like arrested now for evading a ticket? No, because in my heart and in my mind and in my deepest of souls, that man got away. And kudos to him, because I don't think you should be getting a ticket for not paying $1.25. Actually, I was reading an article recently that in like New York and Los Angeles, it costs more money to pay officers and patrol people to give out tickets than it would be to just have free public transportation for all. Free public transportation for all, or fining already disadvantaged communities? I don't know, shawty. Sounds indicative of a much larger issue. But I hope that man got away. I really do. But you know, those damn ticket takers, you gotta hand it to them. Get it? This next snippet's a quick one, but it was so funny because it was one of my first viral videos on TikTok, so I had to share. So I still take the train. I love the train. I love buses. I love trains. I love public transportation. I'm gonna take the train every chance I get. So I'm taking the train someday to somewhere, and the train gets stuck. We're stuck on the train. I don't know if the train derailed in front of us. I don't know if we hit something, but we were stuck on our train car for maybe about 10-15 minutes max before we finally got to our next station and was able to get off the train. And this happens every now and then, but the train kind of stops. They make an announcement being like, hey, there's been like a temporary delay. Just hang tight. We're going to get going soon. And we're in like the tunnels of Los Angeles. This wasn't one of the outdoor trains. This was like, I'm underneath the grounds of LA. So it's a little dark, it's a little musty, it's a little spooky. Now, I'd be lying if I said there weren't some questionable people that go on these trains. You know, there are a lot of homeless people that kind of live on the trains. There are people who have their own little communities where they kind of hop on and off the trains and do some unmentionable things. It happens. And I'm sitting by a couple who would perhaps fall into that category. And I kind of see them huddling together a little bit. And I kind of see like a little puff of smoke around them. And I was like, ah, really? These guys are vaping on the train when we're in this enclosed space? Like, that's pretty rude. We have nowhere else to go. I don't want to smell your Strava Guava vape juice all in the air. Gross. Keep it to yourself. But it didn't smell fruity. It didn't quite smell like anything I had ever smelled before. So I kind of start taking notice because I see like a few more puffs. And I'm like, what are they puffing over there? What are they smoking on over there? I sneak a peek at an instrument that I would describe as a bulb on the end of a pipe. So I knew it was something bad. And I wish I could be nonchalant, but unfortunately I am very chalant. And I start panicking because I'm like, oh my God, that's secondhand smoke, and that could be meth, that could be heroin, that could be speed, because I don't even know what speed is. What is that? And I kind of start panicking because I'm in this enclosed space with somebody who's smoking drugs. They're doing drugs. And I didn't consent to it. After about 10 minutes, our train gets going. We get to our next station. They hop off. And I'm kind of just sitting on the train being all jittery, being like, what is that? What am I inhaling right now? What am I about to start feeling? And as soon as I get off the train, that's where I record this TikTok. Question, what drug are they smoking when it's a little round ball at the end of a pipe? And follow-up question, can you get secondhand high from that because I just got stuck on a train for 20 minutes and the homeless people behind me started smoking it and blowing it in my face, and now I'm feeling a little woozy. And I got a lot of comments on that video, you guys. Mostly funny ones being like, ooh, baby girl, you about to clean your entire house right now. Enjoy. Or like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Just drink some water and try to relax and don't panic, okay? You may have just inhaled some illegal toxic substances. But the consensus was that that was a meth pipe. They were smoking meth on the train and I perhaps got secondhand smoke from it. I can confirm I didn't feel anything from it. I can confirm nothing happened from it. But I would like this to be a note to any fellow meth or perhaps crack smokers that if you're gonna do it, don't do it in an enclosed space where other people are forced to breathe in your nasty air. Because I didn't want that. And I guess one of the other benefits to this was I got one of my first viral TikToks. So if you're not following me on TikTok, you should, because I post some funny things on there. So go follow me at JacyAaron_. Because there's another Jacy Aaron out there who took the regular username without the underscore. How rude. And the last section is gonna be all about automobiles. And snippet number 1 is when I was returning home from a trip to Chicago. So I was in Chicago and I was taking public transportation heading to the airport. I, again, love public transportation. I don't want to Uber to the airport. I can get myself there by bus. So I hop on a bus with my big ass suitcase and I lug it up onto the little partition here. So I'm keeping guard on my suitcase, but I'm also keeping an eye on my phone, making sure that I'll get to my destination with plenty of time because I'm not missing any flights up in here. So I'm on this lovely bus ride. When we hear like a really loud rattling coming from the bus, like the bus was uncharacteristically loud. And that's when I pull out my phone and start recording because I was like, something's wrong with this bus. Something's going on here. And I think everybody else could kind of sense it too because we're like, that doesn't sound right. I've been on buses before and that does not sound correct. We get to the next bus stop, a person gets out, and right away the bus driver stands up and exits the bus. And we're all like, uh-oh, something is amiss. So all the fellow bus riders are talking amongst themselves and we're like, something's wrong with the bus, something's wrong with the bus. Sure enough, bus driver comes back on and announces, something is wrong with this bus.
I'm sorry, I'm not to put you guys on the bus, but I mean, there's something's wrong with this bus.
So the driver kind of tells us that we have two options. We can wait inside of the nice, cool, air-conditioned bus for another bus to like come and pick us all up and head to the next stop. Or we can get off the bus and figure it out from there. Now, on any other normal day, I'd be like, no worries, like time isn't real. I'll just hang out here and wait for the next bus. It would be like in another 10, 15, 20 minutes, who knows. But I was headed to the airport. I had my luggage. I had to make a flight. Time was of the essence, and I didn't have any time to waste. So I was one of the few people to deboard this bus. I grab my suitcase, lug it off, and I kind of just start walking. I'm booking it down the Chicago streets with my suitcase, just being like, all right, I gotta find another bus to get myself to the airport. So I'm looking at my phone and I said, okay, cool, another bus is coming. I just have to make a 10-minute walk to this other bus stop to get on another route to get to the airport. And the funniest part of this story, this isn't even like a really funny story. I feel like just because I had video evidence, I wanted to tell you guys, it's really not all that funny. But the funniest part of this story was not a minute and 30 seconds after I got off that bus. Apparently, the rescue bus came, fully rescued that bus, and took off to the next bus stop. And I know this because I got halfway between the two bus stops. I'm looking back and I see all this happening. And so I realize, oh, I don't have enough time to run back and get on the rescue bus, but then I also don't have enough time to get to the next bus stop to make it for that bus to pick me up at the next bus stop. So I have two choices. I just start running for the next bus stop. I am lugging my suitcase. I am sprinting as hard as I can, being like, well, I should have just stayed on the bus. I gotta catch it. I gotta get it. And I realized that I don't think I was going to make it. I kind of get so defeated, and I have this sad video where I just record the bus just completely passing me by. And there goes my bus. It was such a defeating moment, you know, it happens. It happens when you take the bus. But I was able to make it to the next hub of bus stops, but I had to wait there for like 15 extra minutes, and I was really sad and defeated and angry and frustrated. But the moral of the story is I still made it to my flight. I'm one of those people that I'll get there hours early. There was nothing for me to worry about. I plan for emergencies like this. But it was just the funniest sight, choosing to get off that bus had I just waited 1 extra minute, nothing would have changed. So be careful out there because buses do break down. So have a plan B in case you have somewhere to be on a certain time period. Time budget. Time slot. You got to be there a certain time. Nailed it. And the final snippet took place on an Uber ride when I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Why couldn't I think of where Milwaukee is? So I had taken my first ever solo trip and I was out of state and I did a whole vlog about it. Go check it out on my vlog channel. This was part of my 30 before 30 bucket list where I wanted to do 30 really cool things before I turned 30, and I had never done a solo trip before. So I went to Milwaukee because I had tickets to a concert there. Go watch the vlog, you'll learn more about the backstory. I had a great time, I did a lot of cool things, but I had learned from that bus lesson from Chicago, and I did decide to Uber back to the airport on this trip. But you guys, Milwaukee is built different because this was the strangest Uber ride I've ever been on. So a woman picks me up with just the most lyrically graphic song blasting out of the windows that I'd ever heard. I opened the door and I was almost like, oh my God, can you turn it down? Like there are children around, my goodness. But I leaned my head and I was like, hi, picking up for Jacy? And she was like, yep. And I was like, okay, cool. I sit in her car and I take a look around and I'm just like, oh, Ubers are a lot different here than in Los Angeles. In LA, Ubering is a business. You take pride in your work. You offer water bottles. You ask what kind of music you want to be played. You have a clean, pristine car. You're very safe. You're very considerate as an Uber driver for the most part. I would say that people treat, you know, when they're an Uber driver, they treat their car like their business, you know, and it reflects in how they present their car. This lady had garbage everywhere, like in the backseat, garbage. There were just like random objects on the floor. She had little Betty Boop car floor things. There was no air conditioner. She just had these portable battery operated fans just blowing in my face. Her check engine light was on. Her check engine light. Don't you have to get that like cleared before you start driving other passengers? Don't you have to confirm that your car and your vehicle is safe before chauffeuring strangers around that I'm paying for you to do? And it was just so bizarre because I'm like, I don't think this lady's on the Uber app. I think I just got into a stranger's car. I'm being kidnapped right now. And she is still blasting these hardcore rap songs with just like very vulgar, explicit lyrics. And it's like, I'm no prude. I listen to that stuff. But like, again, your Uber car is your business. Like, what are you trying to portray? And so I kind of start chatting with her. So I was like, oh, how long have you been driving Uber for? You know, because I'm thinking like, what is this woman's rating? Like, is it just a Midwest thing? Is it just, I don't even know. And she tells me like, oh, like, it's my first week. Like, I have bills to pay. So like, it's my first week. And that is so funny because the whole time I was thinking like, oh my God, what is this? Uber amateur hour? And she's straight up like, I don't know, it's my first day out here. Literally, it is amateur hour. But when she told me that, you know, I lightened up a little bit and I was like, oh, okay, like, well, maybe you'll learn, maybe you'll get some reviews in or kind of like spruce up your ride a little bit because I didn't mind any of that. I'm always going to give 5-star ratings. I'm not trying to mess with somebody's livelihood, but I just thought it was kind of funny in the sense of like, hey, maybe you should like clean your car before you make giving car rides your business. Just a thought, just a thought. But that's going to be it for this video, all about the silly things that have happened on planes, trains, and automobiles. Let me know any of your crazy stories of things that you've seen on public transportation or on Uber rides because, I don't know, I think some of the more sillier stories kind of make me laugh and it just feels like we're hanging out, you know? You guys like hanging out with me? I like hanging out with you. My mom's calling. Let me answer. Hello? I'm filming a video right now. But that's going to be it for these snippets all about planes, trains, and automobiles. Let me know if you have any crazy, silly, tame, or mundane stories about being on trains, public transportation, or even a crazy Uber ride. I want to hear it all because I know these aren't super outlandish and wild, but I don't know. I hope you guys just like hanging out with me and sharing some of these little story tidbits that have happened in life. If you aren't following me on my other channels, why not? You should. I'm trying really hard. sort of. But you can catch me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, as well as my YouTube vlogs channel. I have a lot of subscribers on that channel because I just repost all my TikToks. But I like the vlogs on there because it's just a little peek into my day-to-day life and all the crazy thoughts that are going on in this noggin. But I thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles! I don't have any airplane puns. So I guess I'm gonna have to wing it. Get it? Did that one land? Or did that one go over your heads? Why are you the way that you are?